Su-22 M4K, the fitter.
Ils ont peut-être pas les ailes la même chose les deux. Non, ils ont la même chose. Non, c'est pas la même chose, il y en a un qui est plus fermé que l'autre.
Cold War, this aircraft would have been of great interest to tacticians on the NATO side.
Absolutely right. My first tour during the 1980s was on the Phantom, an air defence aircraft we studied.
Indeed so. These aircraft were used across the Warsaw Pact and countries in the Soviet sphere of influence at the time. European users amongst the Warsaw Pact countries, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, East Germany and Hungary, as well as Poland. Continuing this racetrack pattern now as they run in for another pass. In the Cold War, the fitter would have penetrated hostile, i.e. Western airspace, using high-speed, low-level tactics to try and evade enemy fighters. Navigation and attack computers were fairly advanced, but nonetheless, just as it was for NATO assets, for their Warsaw Pact counterparts, it was a very risky undertaking to carry out those low-level missions, not least due to the threat of anti-aircraft fire. Northwestern Poland. Now we see the two aircraft splitting for the next part of their display, and here we see something of the low-level capability of the fitter in a show of force, 480 knots, 500 feet. Service, the MiG-29 that we've seen here in the last couple of seasons of the Air Tattoo being the other. The aircraft now performing what the pilots call combat turns, and they'll be coming in for a simulated dive attack. Enough to make a mess of anything. One interesting feature of the fitter, though Poland's new Lockheed Martin F-16C Fighting Falcons are now taking over that role with far more modern equipment at their disposal. Turns and a few rolls we saw there, we now see the fitters positioning. And we we see them at slightly closer quarters for a number of missed approaches.
And you may have noticed during the display as the reheat was lit, the smoke disappears. That's because of the more complete carbonisation of the fuel. And the tactic used by aircraft at about 10 miles, they would like mid-reheat, 10 miles going against another reversion to reduce the ability.
Leszczyk coming into land, completing their sequence. Thus, the two Sukhoi Su-22 M4K fitters of the Polish Air Force from the 40th Tactical Squadron at Slitlin. Certainly amongst the most charismatic aircraft